Right now, the crypto market is really no fun. Just look at what keeps happening here every time. There was a day when things were going well, when we really broke out properly here. And a day later, it went down again. Just yesterday, the crypto market dropped by $350 billion. This is the second biggest loss day in the entire crypto history. That's really crazy. By now, it's clear to everyone how highly manipulated this market has become. So, this market is completely manipulated, especially the thing where Donald Trump announces this crypto reserve. That's really positive. We rise, and then 2 or 3 days later, when nothing more is posted about it, the market escalates again and we crash completely. That really isn't fun for many anymore. But we just have to realize that the market is completely manipulated now, and the market makers are working through certain zones piece by piece and making millions in the process. Now we're going to talk about a few important things. We're also going to touch on that a bit. How to evaluate. The current cycle, euphoric, is what is going on here. And if we haven't seen anything with the altcoins by mid-April, then the entire altcoin sector, or rather the whole altcoin season, will be pushed back. One huge problem we have is simply this trade war between the USA and China. They have now imposed tariffs on each other. Donald Trump is really turning everything upside down. This is obviously affecting the economic situation in the USA, but also in China. It's very unstable, and that's generally not a good thing. If this continues, China will probably be forced to engage in quantitative easing, and as a result, they will strengthen their currency. This will put further pressure on the dollar, and as a result, the USA will probably have to engage in quantitative easing as well, just to keep up. This will effectively weaken the dollar, and as a result, we'll get fresh capital into the markets. That would be the most important thing, because in the end, everything, with the altcoins, rises and falls, especially with this quantitative easing. We need a loose monetary policy, which we currently don't have. Right now, everything is still very tense because these tariffs against Europe, against China, Mexico, and so on, that alone has strengthened the dollar a bit, and as a result, we simply have less capital for risk assets. It would be extremely important for us to really see the shift to this loose monetary policy, and in this regard, this month is going to be extremely crucial, because you have to imagine the cycle in 2021 really heated up at the beginning of the year. We had the altcoin season, and then we had that crash in the summer. At the end of the year, things picked up again. Right now, it actually looks quite similar here, except that we haven't had an altcoin season. But right now, it looks like we're going to correct again, crash, and then maybe see another rise at the end of the year. It could also be that it will start to rise sensibly again. It's all connected. In March and April. Because if we haven't seen an altcoin season by April, then we'll probably see it more towards the end of the year. Because you have to imagine, sell in May and go away has pretty much always been right in the past. Every time in May did we just have stagnation or crash phases. And only at the end of the year did things pick up again. That's usually the case every time, and I believe it will be the same this time as well. If we haven't seen any altcoin season by May, then it will probably come at the earliest in August or September. And it really looks a bit like that right now. But there is still hope for May because we will see on May 12th, March. We'll bring the inflation numbers. That's going to be very interesting, and Truflation is currently expecting 1.5%, which would definitely be much better than what we've seen in the last few months. Then we have this crypto summit at the White House in 3 days, which could also be interesting. And on the 19th, May, there's the Fed meeting, and there we see potential rates cuts. We would have to take a look. In my opinion, everything really hinges on this month. If this month isn't positive for crypto, I think we'll first see the next Fed rally at the end of the year, around August or September. According to the timing and data, that would at least make sense. But I still have hope because, look at this. Imagine we really have 1.5% inflation, which is very positive. We have a positive crypto summit at the White House, and we have rate cuts. If that happens, we'll see a monster rally right away. But as I said, a lot is currently riding on these macro data. Otherwise, the market will probably remain a bit neutral in the coming weeks. As long as we don't see any significant changes from the USA regarding this China, Mexico, Canada situation and so on, that alone makes the markets a bit jittery. As a result, people are currently not investing as riskily. But based on time and data, such a hold wouldn't end a bull run. We're seeing an increasing number of Bitcoin mining companies, which is still very positive. We're seeing the whales still buying right now. That's why it looks more like things will stretch out a bit if nothing significant happens here in March. In the end, if you've accumulated altcoins, you have to wait for this quantitative tightening. And with that, the altcoins will probably skyrocket. It's really a tough phase right now where you can't really assess the market. You can't really assess it at all. There are many geopolitical discrepancies. that need to be resolved first. We first need to see what the monetary policy looks like in the coming months, and so on. As long as we haven't seen that, it will probably stagnate a bit for now. At this point, I just hope you don't lose heart. As I said, we're still in a bull run. It's tough. And I honestly say that the bull run definitely feels very different from the past cycles, because the market is it's completely manipulated. Donald Trump has so much power here now, he can manipulate things back and forth so much. That's really something that hasn't been seen in the last few years, in the last bull runs. Accordingly, we need to adjust a bit, but we have to look at the bigger picture in the long term, because in the long run, things are actually positive. But we simply don't have loose monetary policy, Haken zur Kaltsteußen, and there are too many economic discrepancies, where you can't foresee when it will all end. A lot is riding on that right now. And as I said, look at the bigger picture in the long term. In the long run, I'm still optimistic about the crypto market because, to be honest, I can't imagine that a Michael Saylor would just buy billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin at $100,000, buying in dollars. That doesn't really sound like fun. People know what they're doing. They're also approaching this with a bit of a long-term perspective. And that's how we should approach it, because what many people don't understand in this regard is that our poor performance right now isn't related to the crypto market. It's related to the fact that, as I said, we have all these global economic issues. Just take a look at the stock market. Within a few days, we've seen trillions flowing out of the stock market. As I said, we have these global economic problems just like with the US dollar. Right now, we're still way too strong with the US dollar. We don't have quantitative tightening. To be honest, these 4-year cycles with Bitcoin don't really help us. Nothing. When it looks so macroeconomically right now, that's why we really need to differentiating and not just blaming everything on the crypto market. We really need to see this loose monetary policy first. We need a weaker dollar, and we just need this clarity for investors. There's a good reason why so much capital is being pulled out of the stock market right now. People are anxious. What's also coming up is that the USA is supposedly going to announce its exit from NATO in the next few days. If that's really the case, I honestly can't predict how the markets will react. But that would be pretty much the death blow for Europe. Maybe that will further strengthen the USA, but it would be extremely tough for Europe. And I think that could also have global economic implications to instill fear in the markets. I think that's also a reason why we're currently crashing so hard, because the markets are pricing that in. Because from a global economic perspective, we haven't had such a major event in recent years. It would definitely be very interesting to see how the markets react to that. Otherwise, I remain optimistic in the long term. I believe that we will be on a positive path again in the long term. We need a bit more clarity here, so that all investors can feel secure and invest their money with absolute confidence. Yes, as I said, we're really at such a skeptical point right now where we need to wait a few days and see how things look from a global economic perspective, and then we can talk about the crypto market, because in terms of crypto technology, there are more positive news than ever before. We have such a positive US government, but as I said, that doesn't really help us at all. If we're currently wobbling from a global economic perspective, then we'll probably need to be patient for a few more weeks. But other than that, friends, that's it. I will keep you updated on the events. I hope you enjoyed the video so far. Feel free to give the video a like and leave a comment there. And then I would say until next time, friends, bye.